The Roman Empire, it wasn't just a marketplace for goods. It was a marketplace of gods, a huge, sprawling spiritual landscape where countless beliefs were all competing for the hearts and minds of millions of people. And right in the middle of this grand theater of faith, you had two movements, one ancient, one brand new, that shared a surprising number of things in common, before one of them went on to define the Western world. We're going to explore that very connection in this explainer. So our investigation really starts with an image, an icon so powerful it's echoed through thousands of years of art, faith, and culture. For centuries, this was one of the most recognizable religious images in the entire world. It's the Egyptian goddess Isis, queen of heaven, protector of children, and here she is, cradling her son, Horus. She was the ultimate symbol of maternal love and divine protection. But then, as a new faith started to spread, another image, a strikingly similar one, became totally central to its worship. The Virgin Mary, holding the infant Jesus. The poses, the themes, the reference. The resemblance is just uncanny, isn't it? So what's going on here? Is this just a wild coincidence, or does this artistic echo point to a much deeper, almost forgotten connection between the cult of Isis and early Christianity? Well, that is the mystery we are unraveling today. All right, let's start with Isis, because long before Christianity, her cult was one of the most powerful and widespread religions in the entire Roman Empire. Seriously. She started out in Egypt, but Isis was way more than just a local deity. As her worship spread, she kind of absorbed the powers of other gods, becoming this universal figure of creation, love, and salvation. She was revered all the way from the sands of Egypt to the streets of Rome itself. Now, this story of resurrection, this is the absolute core of what made Isis so powerful. It's more than just a myth. It's this profound story of love, loss, and the ultimate triumph over death. This incredible power to bring back the dead was totally central to her appeal. And all that power fed into a message of real, profound hope. You have to remember, in the turbulent Hellenistic age, people felt pretty helpless. The cult of Isis offered something the traditional, kind of impersonal Roman gods just didn't. A promise of compassion, a personal connection to the divine, and the hope of a blessed afterlife for everybody, no matter if you were rich or poor. Okay, so while the cult of Isis was at its absolute peak, a new faith was starting its own, very difficult journey in a distant corner of that same empire. The path for early Christianity was, to put it mildly, brutal. For centuries, just being a Christian was illegal. Followers faced these terrifying waves of persecution, from local mobs blaming them for plagues to massive empire-wide campaigns designed to just stamp out their faith completely. But then, everything changed. It all came down to one man and one battle. So right before this decisive fight for control of Rome, the general Constantine reportedly saw a vision, a cross in the sky, with these exact words. So he had this sign painted on his soldiers' shields. He won the battle, and the fate of Christianity was changed forever. So now we have these two major faiths coexisting in the Roman world, one ancient and deeply revered, the other new and on the rise. And when you start to look closer, well, the parallels are pretty hard to ignore. Just look at this. Both authored a message of hope and a happy afterlife. Both found their most devoted followers among the poor, the marginalized, and especially women. And amazingly, both were structured around a divine trinity. For Isis, it was the family unit, Osiris, Isis, and Horus. And this is absolutely crucial. Both faiths offered a powerful sense of dignity and value to women. In a world where female infanticide was a grim, common reality, this message wasn't just appealing, it was revolutionary. And that reality was, wow, it was stark. Around the year 200, there were as many as 140 men for every 100 women in some parts of the empire. A ratio like that doesn't just happen. It points directly to the practice of abandoning unwanted baby girls. So it's really no wonder that a faith that actually valued women would find such fertile ground to grow. So this brings us to the ultimate question, right? If these two faiths had so much in common, why did one of them just vanish into the pages of history while the other grew to shape the very foundations of Western civilization? Well, one key difference was in the ritual. While the cult of Isis offered spiritual comfort, early Christianity offered something more tangible. The Eucharist, the breaking of bread and drinking of wine, it wasn't just a symbol. For believers, it was a way to physically participate in the sacrifice and salvation of their Savior. But the decisive blow? It wasn't theological, it was political. With Constantine's victory, Christianity went from this persecuted minority to the favored religion of the emperor himself. And suddenly it had state protection, immense funding, and just unparalleled power. The final chapter was written in the year 395. That's when the Emperor Theodosius made Christianity the only state religion and then formally abolished all other worship. The temples of Isis, the ones that had stood for centuries, were closed. Just like that. Her faith was pushed into oblivion. The story of Isis and early Christianity is such a good reminder that history is never a straight line. It's more like this complex tapestry of ideas that borrow and blend and compete with each other. And it leaves us with a pretty big question. If a faith that once commanded an empire's devotion can be so thoroughly forgotten, how many other stories that quietly shaped our world are still out there, just waiting to be rediscovered?